Good afternoon, everybody. It is 12:30. We're going to get started. Actually, we're going to wait just a minute here. There's quite a few people that haven't shown up yet. So I don't want to have to keep running back to the laptop to let them in. So we'll give them a couple minutes here and see if we can get them in here. They're starting to show up now. There's a few anyway. A couple more. Yeah, there's still quite a few people that haven't shown up yet. So we're going to wait just a second here and try and get them in. Be easier that way. All right, we're going to go ahead and get going. So what we're working on now is the drawer for the nightstand, okay? We're going to take a look at the plans again real quick. So we have completed all the drawer parts. We did the rabbets that accept the sides. We did the dados for the drawer bottom itself. Earlier today, I went ahead and measured for the drawer bottom, but we'll show you guys how it works. Basically what you do is you take and measure. I'll go ahead and stop this share. And measure the inside dimensions of the drawer. So basically, let's get this stuff out of the way. All right, so basically all you really have to do. Let's see this. Okay, we've got our rabbits on the front and the back, and the dados. Got our side pieces. Basically, all we do is we dry fit the drawer together. Kind of stand it up on the table. Okay. So we measure the inside dimensions, basically from the inside here to the inside here. We measure that. We measure that. And we add a ½ inch to both those measurements. And the reason we do that is because these grooves, these dados here that accept the drawer bottom, they're a ½ inch deep. So there's a ½ inch deep dado there. There's one opposite on the other side. So that's ½ inch and a ½ inch. That's a half, extra half. Same thing here, ½ inch deep dado. That will accept the drawer bottom. Okay, so basically what we're doing when we add that ½ inch to the width and the length, we're compensating for the depth of these dados. Okay, so we've got everything fits. We're happy with it. One of the first things we do before we do any gluing or nailing is we want to dry fit this thing and see how it fits. And there's a hard way and there's an easy way. I think I'm just going to do it the easy way. Because it is a little clumsy. So all we got to do is kind of put that together. Actually, we're going to have to do it the other way, like this. Okay, we're just going to stick a clamp on it, like a little easier. That'll hold it together. We always dry fit parts, In other words, try and put it together without glue to make sure everything fits. It's better to know if there's going to be a problem with the assembly process before you get glue all over it. So everything's good. Should drop on. It's not catching that data. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so we got everything fits. We're good. Ready for gluing nails. So this is really easy. Nothing to it. So one of the things we generally do is we do not glue the drawer bottom in place, okay? It floats. We generally don't ever glue the drawer bottoms in. They're intended to just float in that dado. So we're not gonna put glue in those dados. We're just gonna put glue on the rabbets. And the easiest way to do it, honestly, is just get a little bit of glue in there. And you can use your fingers or whatever. I don't feel like covering my fingers with glue right now. So I'm just gonna use a little brush. We're gonna brush this glue around on these rabbits. Really, the reason we brush it is to get coverage on the rabbit, but also if we just put it there after just putting the glue out, just a bead of glue, it just drips all over the place when you go to put it together. So that's another good reason to spread it out a little bit. All right, probably have a little more glue than I need. Okay, so there's our glue. Stick that in the water. So now what we have is we have an 18 gauge pin nailer. And it's pretty straightforward. Stay. There we go. All right, we've got glue up sides. So all we have to do, just make sure when you do this that the dados match, right? Instead of doing it like that. Seen it happen. So we're just gonna stand this up, put them together, hold them together snug. Shoot a few nails. Same thing on the other side. Dado down. One, two, three. Now we can stand it up. Drop our bottom in this way. Okay. Turn the other side on. Make sure it drops onto that drawer bottom onto the dado. And get a few nails in. Be careful shooting the nails. Make sure they're done straight up and down, not angled. Try and get it centered on the thickness of the side so it doesn't come shooting out the other side. Or end up sticking out on the inside. I'm going to wipe some of that excess glue off. It's actually a good idea, once you get this glued up, don't just slide it into the nightstand and leave it there until you get back the next day. Because we have had instances where a little glue dripped down the bottom of the nightstand and it glued it to the inside. In other words, somebody put it in there, okay, left it overnight, some glue dripped down here, and it's glued it to the inside here. So that's the drawer, piece of cake, okay? The next thing we need to do is make the drawer front, okay? This is gonna be a solid stock drawer front for pine, okay? The way we do this, the way we measure for it, is we measure width, face frame to face frame, so from here to here. We measure length, face frame to face frame, here to here, okay? And then we add 1 inch to each of those measurements. What that does is that gives us a 1/2 inch overhang all the way around. So the drawer front's gonna overhang this face frame by a 1/2 inch all the way around, okay? So we have 6 by 13. We add 1 inch to each of those, 7 by 14. Okay, so this has already been thickness. Order of operations in the shop: thickness, then width, then length. Okay, this has already been thickness. So now we're going to go take care of width. All right, and the first machine we go to when we're getting ready to rip to final width is the jointer. We need one flat, straight, square edge that we can put against the fence on the table saw. Okay, so we're going to go to the jointer. All right, and what I'm looking for when it comes to which edge I want to join, what I'm looking for here, see how well you can see. Okay, I'm looking for an edge that's shaped like that. That's the one I want to put down. If my edge is curved outward like this, the board's just going to tend to rock as it goes to the jointer, and you're not going to get a flat edge. So this has pretty flat edges as it is. So I just kind of pick the best edge. Come to the table saw. We want to rip to 7 inches wide. Set our blade height so it's just about a 1/4 inch above your material. Set the fence to 7 inches. Okay. We've got our jointed edge right here. That's the edge we want against the fence. There we go. There's our 7 inches wide. Okay. Let's see, that was 1, 2, 3, this would be 4. Now we go to cut to length. So we do thickness, then width, then length, in that order every time. Okay? So you may not be able to hear me too well when I go over to the miter saw. This mic isn't transmitting very far, but it'll be quick. All we have to do is trim and square one end of this board. We're just going to take enough off one end to make sure it's square. Okay. Now I can measure from that end I just cut out to 14 inches long. Make a mark. Make it square. Give myself a cut one. And I'm ready to go. Now I do not have to use a stop in this instance because we're only cutting a single board to this length, so I can cut it just on my line. If we had to cut more than one of these in length, we have to use a stop every time. Okay? Stop. All right, so we've got our board 7 wide, 14 long. Okay? So the next thing we want to do this is put a decorative edge around the perimeter of the board. It basically should match the decorative edge we put on the top when we routed the top. Okay, so we're going to the next machine. Gonna be the router table. Okay, and all I really need to do here is figure out which surface the that I want to see. What do I think is the better surface? And I'm looking at this board, and it's probably not going to matter much, okay? So once again, we're going to route end grain first. You guys can see the grain direction in this going this way. That means this is our end grain, this is our edge grain. We're going to route end grain first. So if it tears out a little bit when the bit exits, we'll be able to clean it up when we do the edge. Okay? So, all right, got my push pads, ready to go. That's the bit I want. There's our decorative edge. Okay? So, once again on the router table, we always use push pads. We always want to move from the right to the left, going against the rotation of the bit. Never left to the right. If you feed your board with the rotation of the bit, you're taking a chance on it getting yanked out of your hands and shot across the floor. Okay? So, next, back to our nightstand. Okay, we're going to mount this bad boy. Let me turn this around so I can see. All right, so mounting this is fairly straightforward. All right, the only thing I did not get was a little clamp. Let me grab one. See, this is pretty straightforward as well. Okay. So basically, we want to make sure that this drawer front is centered vertically. We don't want it down too low. We don't want it up too high. We also want it centered left and right, horizontally. Okay. So one of the easiest ways I've found to do that, slide your drawer in, get it centered in the opening. Okay. Take your board. I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn this a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to set this here, and I'm going to have it centered left to right. Okay? Basically so that I have about the same amount of drawer front overhanging the face frame on that side as on that side. I'm going to make a little mark right here on the top edge of the drawer front where the edge of the drawer is, not the face frame. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing here. Get it centered. Make a little mark over here where the top edge of the drawer is. So I've got a mark here for vertical. I've got a mark here for horizontal. The vertical one, all I have to do, take a sliding square, put it up against the edge of the board, slide it until it lines up with my pencil mark. Then I can take it and I can give myself a reference line on the back. Okay. All right, so now I've got this out. All I have to do is line up that pencil line with the top edge of the drawer and that little mark up there with the right edge of the drawer. Okay, so I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to eyeball it, get it where I want. I'm going to hold it there. Get a little clamp on it. Now, I want to step back 10 or 15 feet. You don't want to stand right here, so I'm going to do you get back a little ways. I'm going to see how straight it looks, okay? So I'm going to get it as straight as I can, but we will be able to make minor adjustments to it here in a little bit. that's not too bad. And the only thing I really need to do is I need to change the nails in this. These aren't quite long enough. I'm going to pull those and get some 1 1/4. All right, so here's our longer nails. When done. So our drawer front looks pretty straight. Pretty happy with that. So we're going to carefully take it out. Set it so it's hanging over the edge of the table a little bit. And I'm just going to shoot 2 nails, random spots back here. There's one. And that'll hold it well enough for me to get it back in. Step back and take a look. See if it looks straight. I'm basically looking to see if it's parallel with this surface. That's kind of the easiest way to check. Pretty darn straight. So now we're going to take a couple screws. We've got a driver here. So all we have to do out. Let's just see this. And all I'm really going to do, I don't have to, the screws that we use in here are what's called self-tapping screws. There's a little slit at the tip of it in the threads that allows this to kind of pre-drill its own hole. It acts as a little bit of a drill bit to pre-drill its own hole. So we generally don't have to, especially in particle board and pine, we don't have to pre-drill for these. If it was in maple, if I was going directly into maple, I'd probably pre-drill, maple or oak. But this stuff's pretty soft. All I have to do is get it on the bit, give it a little tap, and the harder I push down, the harder it's going to hold the drawer to the drawer front. Get it started. There's one. There's the second one. And voila. You have a nightstand with a lasered forest on the top and a little CNC WeAreGP on the bottom. So really the only thing left to do to this is some finish sanding, make sure there's no pencil marks. I noticed I didn't get these off up here. Make sure there's no pencil marks, things like that. Make sure everything's flush. If there's any gaps or anything like that, I can maybe deal with them if I want to, but it's usually not that big a deal on these. But that's pretty much about it. That's how we do these nightstands. It's not rocket science, it's wood shop, so it's not that difficult. There are a million different variations on these things. People do things different all the time. I've got somebody trying to get in. But it's really that simple. So we did one in, what, a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. I think we did this in just 45 minutes a day, something like that. It's not difficult, okay? Can you see the chat out in the shop, or is it just a camera? I can, but I can't read it. I mean, I know it's there, but it's just a little window off to the side. So when I'm standing more than a couple feet away, I can't really read the chat. So I do try to come back and check every once in a while. Carter, yes, you can. Somebody's disconnecting. Okay, that's okay. Can't I just use a level? That, Carter, that is a fantastic question, man. The problem with using a level is that, and I get that question a lot out here in the shop. In fact, I've seen students using a level. Unless you're sitting on a level surface, in other words, our benches are not level, the floor is not level in here. You don't have a frame of reference, a solid, flat, true plumb level surface to place it on. So no, we can't really use a level. generally, another thing you can do, I mean, it's not that difficult. What you can do is, I mean, honestly, this is probably one of the easiest ways to check it. Just take a tape, and I'm about 1 3/8, about a 32nd over 3/8, 1 3/8. And I'm dead on the same here. So I'm just measuring this distance right here. So it's set up. The important thing is that it lines up with the other horizontal surfaces that we have, so it doesn't look crooked. And the same thing with these edges, okay, that they line up and they look parallel to each other. That's really what's most important. And you can go, overkill on these nightstands. It's not necessary, but there's other things you can do to customize them and things like that. But good questions. Thank you very much for asking questions. I appreciate it. So the dilemma we have now is we have time left before the end of the semester and your nightstand is done, okay? So I think what we're gonna do, I think the easiest thing to do, especially since, let me show you guys something here. I'm gonna recall that and bring us close to where we wanna be. Okay, so here's the thing. So I've got 4 classes, two beginning classes where we did nightstands, 2 different nightstands. And then an intermediate class where we did, where they chose these projects out of the plans. We did this cabinet, okay, and this is a cabinet for the drill press. Basically, it's got these little guys here that, all the different types of bits and things we use at the drill press. But these are just hanging on cleats, so these can actually come off and be placed anywhere else. They've got a little cleat on the back with a 45-degree angle, same thing here. And they can be placed anywhere in here they want. We have a couple more cleats to put in here and in here in this door, but we're not going to do it until we know exactly which bits we want to place in there. That'll determine where we want to place those cleats. Same thing here. This is a drawer. There's a medium drawer or 2 skinny drawers also that go here. All I've got to do is glue them up, nail them up, and they're ready to go. So all I really did was go through the door construction on one of them with that class. So this thing's basically done. I can't really do a lot more on it right now until we know what we're going to place in those other doors. So that's what we've been doing, working on first period. And then these guys, once it's all done, it'll hang on the wall. These doors close up. Well, I gotta screw it down or it's just gonna flop. And these will close properly at some point. Yeah, we lost that. We're just gonna let it like that. And it'll hang on the wall by the drill presses. The other project we did is in second period, the advanced course. And they chose this particular project, and I'll show you this. Okay. Let me get over to that. Let's swing over. Okay. So this is actually a tool cabinet, and what we'll probably put in this are some of our nicer hand planes and things like that. But the reason this is an interesting little cabinet, I'll show you. So this is where we get all of our plans. I pay for a subscription to this, and this is where students choose their plans from. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's down here, like in the 1.8, here it is right here. So this is what this project is supposed to end up looking like, okay? It's a tool cabinet that has a rolling down, like a roll top desk type door. It's got a tambour door on it. This is in the up position. This is in the down position. So I believe it's page 32. So we've been working on this since the beginning of the semester. So here's the tambour door setup. It slides up and it ends up sliding behind a false back so you can't see it. And so it's a fairly complex animal, if for no other reason than because of these side panels that have multiple dados They've got a groove along here that the timbre slides in that has to be accurate. All kinds of little joinery things, stuff like that. You know, so there's a lot of trim work and things like that. And then the timbre door itself is a challenge to get done. So I think what we're going to do, since this is the only project that is not complete, in fact, it's not even close to being complete, I think what we're going to do is in the beginning classes, I'm just going to have you guys see how this is moving along. So I'll be able to get a little more work done. So you guys are going to see some of the trim work and things like that being done on this cabinet. You'll see the timbre, how it's put together and things like that. So I'm going to have you guys monitor this project now that the nightstand's over, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. So where's my, you know, I didn't even share that, did I? Well, that was dumb. Okay. So here's the project. It's this timbre tool cabinet. Okay. I didn't even share it with you guys. Okay. And then this timbre door, this, you grab this little handle and slide it down, and oh, come on. And it's got this little door that covers up all the tools and stuff. So that's what we're making. All right. So I'm just going to continue on with this project. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to share the screen. And you can kind of see, you should be able to kind of see the tracks that the timbre door is going to ride in. There's a groove right here, goes all the way up, loops around on the top, comes around to the back. So basically this is how the timbre door gets inserted the first time. There's a larger opening right here that feeds up through this groove, up along the curve, and then down to the front. So what we've been working on this morning was we finished building the drawers, and we have this roll. It's UHMW acrylic tape. And it's really slippery stuff, okay? Especially in its sticky back. It's just you peel this backing off of it, it'll stick. So what we've done is we've used that for drawer guides. Okay, so in other words, there's tape here, on the bottom and on the side on all these openings, okay? And that also gives us our gaps around the drawers, okay? Because these are flush mount drawers. This is number 3. These are flush mount drawers, which means they're going to sit right in like that. That means that this gap around the drawer has to be even, or you're really going to know it. Okay, this is our number 2. Here's our number 2. Get on in there. And there will be stops at the back that prevent these drawers from going too far back. Hasn't been done yet. There's our number 1. Well, of course, that's the only other place it could have fit. Come on. Put in there. There we go. And number 4. The reason they're numbered, even though they're basically similar sizes, is it took some hand work with a hand plane and a cabinet scraper to get these guys to fit just right the way I wanted them to. So there we go. There's our last drawer. Okay. So now what we have to do to these things, and with any luck, those are all looking pretty good and the gaps are where they're supposed to be. Now what we have to do to these things is on the front of the drawer, all the way around the perimeter of the front of each drawer, we're going to cut a rabbet like this, okay? I don't know if you can see that. Let me grab the remote so maybe you can see it. This rabbet, okay. Down a little bit. So this rabbet that runs all the way around the edge like this, okay? It's a 1/4 inch wide and it's a 1/4 inch deep, okay? So all these drawer fronts are going to get this little rabbit cut all the way around it. And then what goes in that rabbit is what's called a decorative bead trim or a bead trim type thing. I'll show you what that is. Okay, so this is the point we are at so far. Where's my drawers? Here's my drawers. All right. So basically it's this, you can see this kind of decorative bead that goes around here like this, right? That's done by, after the drawer is assembled, you create this rabbit all the way around it, and then you've got this little bead material that you make, okay? And then it's all 45-degree miters at the corners where they're put together. It's like a picture frame framed around the outside of this. Now, sadly, I did not buy this cool looking hardware because these poles are like 25 bucks a piece. And I really don't feel like pulling that out of my bank account to buy these handles. So we'll have a little different type of handle on there for the drawers. But that's what we're going to be doing next on this, most likely. I want to finish off the drawers, and then we start on the timbre, which is going to be, we've done this project before. I've had students do this project before, and the timbre seemed to be the most difficult portion of the project, just because of the way it's done. So hopefully you guys will get to see some of that and see how it goes. And that's what we're going to do. So that you know, the last week, or next week, maybe next week, or I think next week, is that going to be, yeah. We're going to have some time for you guys to catch up. If there's somebody that's behind or you're missing some assignments or anything like that, I want to try and make sure you guys have time to make them up, so you get your best grade out of this. And so we'll get a little bit of work done next week, but a lot of it's going to be spent making sure you guys have everything done that you need done. Okay. So, all right. So that's where we are. That's going to be it for today. Make sure your name is in the chat window for attendance. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves tonight, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. All right. See you guys.